Let me tell you something right off the bat. If you've never tangled with an HOA, you might think the idea of trimming a dead tree branch could never be grounds for domestic warfare. But, man, the day I picked up that chainsaw, I didn't realize I was about to go toe-to-toe with the self-proclaimed queen of Pinewood Meadows, Jennifer Lewis, clipboard and all. And if you ever hear the clack of cheap acrylic nails on plastic at 7 a.m., don't ignore it. That's not just the sound of morning in suburbia. That's the warning bell. I'd just moved into my so-called forever home. After years busting insurance fraud rings and getting divorced, I was ready for quiet mornings, coffee under my old oak trees, and maybe a chance to grow something new out of my busted-up life. Those oaks, God, they were beautiful, spreading their shade like a promise. But a few weeks in, my investigators, I caught something. Those big brown skeleton arms, dead branches just waiting to crash down on a car, a kid, or maybe just the last nerve I had left. So, I do what any halfway responsible adult would do. I rent a chainsaw, slap on my gloves, and go to work. You know what I mean? The air was clean. I felt good for the first time in months. And then, right as the first branch drops, I hear this voice cut through the morning like a bad memory. Stop what you're doing right now. I look down, and there's Jennifer, neon pink tank top, ponytail whipping back and forth, eyes wild with something between fury and, well, boredom, maybe. And that clipboard, she wields it like a badge, but really, it's more of a weapon. What do you think you're doing? She screeches, and before I can even put down the chainsaw, she's 3 feet away, snapping pictures, scribbling notes. All landscaping changes require HOA pre-approval. You can't just start hacking at the trees. I try to keep my voice even, old habit from the job. Ma'am, I'm just taking off the dead branches, so they don't hurt anybody. This isn't landscaping, it's maintenance. But Jennifer's not interested in logic. She's interested in winning. She threatens to call the cops. She makes it clear she's in charge around here, and people who cross her learn the hard way. I pack up my gear, not because I'm scared, but because I know this kind of power trip when I see it. Back inside, I dive into the HOA rulebook, hours of tiny print and legal jargon. But here's the kicker. There's nothing about trimming dead wood. Only whole tree removal needs approval. Jennifer? She's making it up as she goes, counting on most folks just rolling over. But I've spent years chasing down liars. This is what I do. That evening, I find a yellow violation notice duct taped to my door, $7.50 fine, restore property to original condition, or face legal action. No real citations, just Jennifer's signature and a grainy photo of me on the ladder. I show it to my neighbor Nick, an easygoing lawyer I'd only talked to once before. He gives the paper a long look and just says, "She didn't even cite a rule. That's not legal." For the first time, I realize I might have an ally. So, I send Jennifer a polite but pointed email, asking for the specific rule I'd broken. She fires back with vague threats, and still no rule, her tone getting nastier. Later that night, my phone rings. Her voice is raw, spitting with venom, and she lets it rip. "I run this place. Cross me, and you'll regret it." The call lasts 10 minutes, her threats getting more personal by the second. I record it, completely legal in California, by the way. And now I've got real evidence. She doesn't care about rules. She cares about control. The next morning, I find my mailbox spray painted in red. Comply or leave. Now I'm pissed. But Jennifer made a mistake. I'd already set up security cameras, caught her car creeping past at 2 a.m. That's when I decide, no more playing defense. I call the police. Officer Sullivan shows up, graying, steady, looks like he's seen every flavor of suburban drama. Jennifer comes barreling over, clutching her clipboard, breathless, putting on a show about how I'm destroying our community. She points at me, claiming harassment, while the paint is still dripping from my mailbox. I stay calm, hand the officer my phone with her ranting voicemail, the email thread, the violation notice, and the HOA covenants. He listens, eyes narrowing. Jennifer's getting desperate, her act falling apart. "Ma'am," he says, "these recordings are pretty clear. HOA rules don't override the law. Threats and vandalism are criminal offenses." She sputters, tries to claim it's all fake. But the cop isn't buying it. "You think you're clever, calling the cops on me?" she hisses once Sullivan's out of earshot. "Fine, I'll show you what a real violation looks like. Every single day." She storms off, but not before promising that this is just the beginning. And she means it. The next week, I'm bombarded with violation notices. My grass too long, car parked too close to the curb, mailbox paint, which she herself put on. She even starts moving my trash cans and photographing them out of place. Each fine is hundreds of dollars, threatening escalation to legal action and foreclosure. But I document everything: photos, measurements, video. I even catch her faking violations, staging pictures, tampering with my property. Here's where the twist comes in. Mrs. Dorothy Patterson, 71, quietly hands me a box of her own, 3 years' worth of evidence. Photos of Jennifer planting weeds in people's yards, copies of threats sent to neighbors, even logs of which families got driven out and how. Turns out, Jennifer's harassment wasn't new. She'd been doing it for years, and nobody had fought back. Nick and I put our heads together, and pretty soon, 3 more neighbors stepped forward with their own stories. A pattern emerges. Jennifer systematically targets problem families, makes their lives hell until they leave, then brags about keeping the community pure. She'd never been officially elected HOA president, just seized the title when the last one moved away, then buried the board in secrecy. The real game changer comes when Nick gets a call from the state HOA board. They're opening a formal investigation. Jennifer never filed the paperwork, never had authority, and may have embezzled thousands from the HOA. Now, it's not just about me trimming a tree. We file suit, harassment, fraud, unauthorized collection of fines, emotional distress. Evidence mounts. Jennifer tries to scare us with phony legal threats, but her authority is gone. At the big community meeting, she tries to command the room like she always has, but people have seen the receipts. She cracks, screaming that everyone's ungrateful, that I'm ruining the neighborhood. But nobody's buying it. The state shuts down the entire HOA. Jennifer is banned from holding any position of authority and is hit with both civil and criminal charges. The best part? I'm finishing my tree trimming project one bright Saturday when police show up to take Jennifer away in cuffs. Officer Sullivan gives me a nod as they drive her off. Pinewood Meadows, for the first time in years, breathes easy. Kids play in the yard. Neighbors say hello instead of whispering about the latest infraction. Nick's law firm blows up with new cases fighting HOA abuse, and Mrs. Dorothy becomes something of a local legend for her meticulous files. And me? I get asked to speak about HOA fraud at law enforcement conferences, how documentation and a little stubbornness can beat even the nastiest clipboard dictator. But you want to know the wildest twist? Turns out Jennifer had run this exact scam in other states: Arizona, Texas, you name it, wrecking neighborhoods, collecting illegal fees, then vanishing when things got hot. My evidence helped put her away for 5 years on federal charges. Today, I look out at those oaks, branches trimmed, leaves strong and green. Sometimes I wonder how many people would have given up if one stubborn ex-investigator hadn't picked up a chainsaw. I didn't just clean up my yard. We cleaned out the rot choking our entire community. So let me ask you this. If you were in my shoes, would you fight back or just pay the fine and hope for peace? Where do you draw the line between keeping the peace and standing up for what's right? Drop your thoughts below. I'm betting more of you have tangled with an HOA than you care to admit. And remember, bullies count on your silence. But sometimes the best way to fix a problem is to cut it off at the roots.